Hi everyone, I'm Sir Long, a former banker turned educator with 6 years experience of teaching mathematics. After 2 days, welcome back to the bilingual channel Decoding with Sir Long. I'm here to help you decode every topic of SPM Mathematics in a simple and logical way. Before I start this lesson, I want to tell you all something. I believe that almost all of you have received the official SPM timetable, am I right? So, a simple question thrown to you. What is the exact date for SPM Mathematics? Actually, SPM Mathematics will be held on 1st of December 2025, which is Monday. So, in other words, from today's onwards, you only have 77 days left for doing final preparation for your SPM Mathematics. Therefore, my suggestion is, from now on, please don't cool down your brain and mind and try our best to do as many questions as possible when you have the free time without interruption for doing final preparation for other subjects as well, because I believe that all SPM candidates would take at least 7 or 8 subjects altogether. So that I believe that SPM Mathematics is very important. However, don't compromise your preparation for Bahasa Melayu and Sejarah as well. But before we are going to slice it, decode it and crush it together, if you want to make sure that you won't miss any catch-ups or updates from my channel, please subscribe my channel and turn on the bell for receiving notifications. Well, we are going to dive into Form 4 Chapter 6 Linear Inequalities in 2 variables in our today's lesson. To be honest, this topic since 2021, when the SPM Mathematics paper format was renewed in 2021, along the last 4 years, the question involving linear inequalities involving 2 variables never missed. So later, please pay full attention to listen to it in order to earn higher marks from such question. Are you ready? Here we go. Hi all of you, welcome to today's section. Let's go through this hard question. Actually, this question is extracted from SPM 2022, paper 2, under section B. The question number is 14. Alright, let's read the question together. The residential committee will organize a motivational camp during school holiday. The participants of the camp consist of X students of secondary school. Look at here, the first variable, X student. Let me highlight. And Y students of primary school. The second variable, Y. The following information is related to the participants of the camp. The first information is the total number of camp participants is at most 210. The second information is the number of secondary school students is not less than 2 times the number of primary school students. Alright, based on the given information, the sub-question is write 2 linear inequalities other than S is greater than or equal to 0 and Y is greater than or equal to 0. And this question gives you 2 marks. First, I need to remind to all of you that please remember these 2 symbols. This symbol means that the variable is greater than or equal to 0. Before we are going to find another 2 linear inequalities, let me go through a quick revision. I hope that all of you here still remember these 4 symbols. The first symbol, look at the arrow pointing to the right, means greater than, more than, bigger than, or even larger than. The second symbol, which is pointing to the left, means less than or smaller than. What about the third symbol? The third symbol, pointing to the right with underline, means greater than or equal to. But most of the time, when you look at the question, the information given to you would use the keyword such as at least, not less than, or even minimum for the third symbol. And what about the last symbol? Pointing to the left with underline means less than or equal to. But of course, on the question, you will see at most, not more than, or even maximum. I hope that all of you can remember how to find the keyword and define the correct symbol of inequality. Since we already read these 2 information, and let's check the keyword on the first information. Obviously, at most. That means, what symbol are we going to use? We are going to use the last one, right? Less than or equal to symbol. What about the second one? the keyword is not less than, right? So what symbol are we going to use? The third one, which is greater than or equal to. So the answer is, for the first information, the inequality is s plus y is less than or equal to 210. Alright, first mark given to you if you know the answer. And what about the second inequality? That is, s is greater than or equal to 2y. 2y means 2 times y. Look at the second part of the phrase. 2 times the number of primary school students. Since we know that the number of primary school students is represented by y as a variable, therefore we can just simply write as 2y. That's it for the first sub-question. So far so good, all of you. If you have no issue, let's proceed to the next one. The next question, I believe that is very heavy to all of you. I believe that some students, right, may hate drawing anything on mathematics paper. However, you cannot skip this. You want to get A or even A+, you are supposed to know how to draw this graph. Look at the sub-question B. For this part of the question, use the graph paper provided. Look at the rule. Using the scale of 2 cm to 30 participants on both axes, draw and shade a region that satisfies the system of linear inequalities. Alright, first of all, what we are supposed to do is, remember the two inequalities that we formed in the first sub-question, s plus y less than or equal to 210 and s is greater than or equal to 2y. After that, before drawing the graph, my suggestion is we are going to make these two inequalities into equation first. How to do it? We can just simply change the symbol of inequality to be the symbol of equality. That means the first one is s plus y is equal to 210. So look at the table constructed by me. You can see that, right, there are two rows of the table for each equation, right? Then how do we do is, okay, in order to find 2 points for drawing the line on the graph, supposedly my suggestion is we are going to use the value, the very easy one, which is 0. So asking yourself, on the first equation, when s is 0, what is the corresponding y value? Very simple, right? 210 minus 0, that's 210. Similarly, we are going to do the same thing, starting from y instead. If y is 0, what is the corresponding value of x? Yes, that is 210. Because 210 minus 0, the s value is 210. Remember, for drawing a line on the graph, to show the system of linear inequalities, you must get at least 2 points by getting a pair of s value and y value altogether. Okay, and we are going to do the same thing for the second equation. S is equal to 2y. Look at here, I already set the value of x, which is 0. So what is the corresponding value of y? 2 times 0 is what? Obviously, this is a primary mathematics, right? Which is 0. And of course, right, we are going to substitute another value for s as well. For me, I'm going to set y as 60. If y is 60, what is the value of x for the second equation? 2 times 60, that's 120. So we can see that, right, we are able to find the two pairs of s and y values together for these two equations. And now we have enough information or sufficient information to draw the graph right now. But before that, let's read through the rule again. Using the scale of 2 cm to 30 participants on both axes. That means, look at here. Remember, when you are going to draw the line, make sure that the line is either dashed line or solid line. Since our inequalities is less than or equal to and greater than or equal to, right? Then therefore, these two lines must be solid line. Look at the right hand side here, as indicated. This is the format on SPM paper. The length of the 10 small grids altogether form 2 cm. So that means, right, every 10 small grids form 2 cm. Therefore, you must be able to make the reading on vertical axis and horizontal axis. Then the next step is, before that, by using ruler, please draw a very straight line for both axes. Then the next thing is, my habit is I usually start at x-axis, which is horizontal axis. Alright, since we know that we are supposed to scale 2 cm to 30 participants, right? Then we have to start from 0, look at the bottom side, and then what's the next value on the x-axis? Yes, plus 30 all the way. So the next value is 30, 60, 90, 150, 180, 210, 240, and so on. It depends on the question itself. You don't need to insert so many figures on each axis. It depends on the value given by the question itself. What about the vertical axis? Same thing. Since you just use the one scale, which is 2 cm to 30 participants. Then after 0, we are going to write 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, and 210. This one is for y-axis. What's the next thing? Of course, we are going to plot the points, right, in order to draw these two solid lines. Therefore, the next thing is, yes, look at here. The orange point is derived from the first equation, the first table. When s is 0, y is 210. Let me circle for all of you. You can see that, right? This orange point represents the first pair of s and y value for the first equation. And then look at the bottom side. The second orange point represents the second pair of s and y value for first equation. When s is 210, y is 0 instead. After plotting these 2 points, please use ruler to draw this straight line to connect these 2 points together. Okay? And we are going to do the same thing for the second equation. But before that, remember, don't forget to write the equation beside the line itself. And this is the rule set by the SPM marker lah. And what about the next one? Yes, look at the second pair of orange color points. Look at the bottom side. This is the point to address the first pair of s and y value for the second equation. When s is 0, y is also 0. And what about the second point for the second equation? When s is 120, y is 60. Once you make it clear, you are able to plot the points at the right place, then you are going to use the ruler to connect the points together. Remember, try to extend the line as longer as possible, like this, so that you'll be able to shade the region as the final answer. So far so good. I believe that all you can follow me. Next step is, we are going to shade the region. Before that, don't forget to write the equation for the second line, which is s is equal to 2y. Very clear, right? Then the final answer is, the region is right here. How come? Because you must know one thing. Look at the first inequality, less than or equal to 210, right? Where's the shaded region for the first inequality? Less than or equal to actually is below the line itself. Since you know the first line is this one, right? The first line. Then the region below the line is right here. It's right here, right? Okay. And then we are going to do the same thing for finding the region for second inequality. And where is it? S is greater than or equal to 2y. Therefore, it must be here. Remember, we are going to find the region one by one. Don't try to deeply shade the region, because later you need to erase it. We are going to find the overlapping regions after finding these two regions all together. So which part is considered overlapping region? Yes, the small triangle part, as shaded by me in orange color. So this is the way we find the final answer. So far so good, all of you. If you think that everything is okay, right, then we are going to proceed to the last sub question. Remember, if you are not able to find the correct inequalities and draw the correct graph, you won't be able to answer the last sub question. So remember, this is the whole set of questions. So what about the last sub question? Based on the graph that you drew in the last sub question, for 45 primary school students, please determine the maximum number of secondary school students. And this question just gives you 1 mark. How we find is, look at here. This is the previous answer, right? Look at the blue dashed line here. Remember, it gives you the information. Let's say it just gives you an assumption if there are 45 primary school students and how many secondary school students in maximum. Therefore, we can just refer to the graph that we drew it just now. Just draw the dashed line starting from vertical axis where y is 45 right here. 45 is just between 30 and 60. And then we are going to extend the dashed line. Here you touch the straight line on the graph. And then we are going to find the bigger number. Obviously, right, this dashed line touches two straight lines or the two inequalities here and here, right? Maximum means what? The biggest one. So therefore, we are going to find this. Then how to find this? We are going to change the direction of the dashed line and then draw down to the x-axis. Here you are able to read the figure. Then look at here. Look at my arrow. So what is the number? The number is actually 165. That's it. For this question, you don't need to do any calculation. Just make sure that you are able to read the correct number on your graph. But beforehand, you must be able to make sure that your graph is correct. And what about the last sub question? Based on the graph that we drew just now, for 45 primary school students, calculate the total minimum fees received by the organizer if the registration fee for a secondary school student and a primary school student is 150 ringgit and 120 ringgit respectively. So 150 ringgit is for secondary school student, 120 ringgit is for primary school student. The thing is very clear. Let's use back the graph that we drew just now. Minimum fee. That means we know that the assumption is 45 primary school students is confirmed. But what about the minimum number of secondary school students in this case? Just follow the same logic that we used just now. Look at here. Look at the red circle that I drew just now. Then, since right, just now we drew the dashed line already, right? Starting from vertical axis where y is 45. Then we are going to see the dashed line where it touches the straight line that we drew on the system of inequality, and then we are going to find the value on the x-axis instead. Then look at the black arrow line. So obviously the value is 90 here. That means for 45 primary school students, the minimum number of secondary school students is 45. So far so good, all of you are very clear, right? Then we are going to do simple calculation, that is multiplication. And then after obtaining these two products, we are going to get a sum altogether. 9 students multiplied by 150 ringgit plus 40 students multiplied by 120 ringgit. And then the result is, okay, before that, my advice is try to calculate one by one so that you feel easy to do double checking after that. Let's say, given that you have your time, the answer is 18,900 ringgit. And this is the way we do the calculation for the last sub question. And the step gives you 2 marks. Where to get these 2 marks? The first mark is actually from here. The way you form the calculation and then find the answer. Alright, and this is all about this question. Alright, here's the end of the third episode today. Still, I will try my best to run-match the hot and important topics that will most likely come out on this year's SPM Maths paper. Before I end today's session, once again, please subscribe my channel so that you'll be able to receive the latest notifications and the latest updates. Thank you for watching it and see you all next time. Goodbye.